Hey folks, today's video is going to be on ways to save money at the shooting range. Not necessarily on ammo. We all know ammo is expensive right now. So is gas, so is food and everything else. Your rapidly depreciating dollar isn't really buying as much as it used to. And so we're all looking on ways to save. And since time is money, instead of wasting a lot of time asking you to like and subscribe and leave a comment with your own ideas, I'm just going to get straight into it and start talking about ways to save money shooting that applies mainly to rifle and handgun, since that's what I shoot most of. If you're a shotgun shooter, a lot of this isn't really going to apply to you, although some of it might, so stay tuned, and if you do have some suggestions for shotgun, leave them below. My number one that I see a lot of people waste money on is targets. Especially if you go to like a lot of your indoor ranges, even your just sporting goods stores to buy targets. They'll sell you stuff like this, and they are often $1, $2 a piece. Sometimes more depending on where you get them. And that's a lot of money to shoot some holes in it and throw it away. Yeah, these look a lot nicer when you take it home to mom and she hangs it on the fridge, and it always makes me feel better when she does that. But if you're just going to throw them away when you leave the range anyway, because they're shot full of holes, get you some cheap paper plates. I mean, you can get these things in big old stacks of, I don't even know how many is here. This is like 300 of them or something. Yeah, I think that's 300. It says 100, but I think it's actually 3 stacks together. So 300 paper plates. I mean, it's the cost of 1 pack of like 10 targets. It works out the same. So you can shoot for a long time with just these 9-inch cheap paper plates. And if you're using like a silhouette target, like a B-27 or something, they are expensive too. You're talking about, oftentimes a few dollars if you're at the range and buying it from them, not buying it in a bulk pack. So you don't have a head with your paper plate. Well, get some index cards. I mean, you can get blank index cards, piles of them, for next to nothing. There's your body, there's your head. If you didn't hit them, try harder. And it's pretty simple. I mean, that's cheap, it works. But there is a time and place for these. These shoot and sees are really fantastic if you're out at a 200-yard range shooting a rifle, especially if you're trying to get that rifle really truly zeroed at your 200. You've already got it on paper at 25, you're about where you want to be, but you need to really dial it in at 200. These are great, because even with a spotting scope, depending on the lighting conditions and all, and depending on the caliber you're shooting, if you're shooting an AR, it can be hard to see those bullet holes out at distance, even with a spotting scope. These, with their little splatter, really help you be able to see where your impacts are, so you're not waiting until the next ceasefire to walk down there and determine what kind of adjustments you need to make. And that's one where people also mess up, is they can't see their bullet holes. They're not sure where they're hitting or if they're even hitting the target. And they'll say, okay, well, I probably am. I think I am, because I was hitting at 25, so I'm probably hitting at 200. It feels like it's about right. Well, they'll shoot 2 boxes of ammo, go down to the next ceasefire, and it turns out it was like a foot low, and they never even tagged the paper. They could have just dry fired for the next little while and been at the same spot. They just wasted their ammo, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's expensive. Don't waste it. But if you have those, you get an opportunity to see it at the distance you're shooting at, so you can make those adjustments in a timely fashion. If you can't see them though, don't waste your ammo. Wait until you can go down range, dry fire in the meantime, have a snack, drink some water, whatever you need to do. When it comes to that though too, know how to zero your rifle. A lot of people, they go to the range and they don't know how their sights work really. They'll say, okay, well, I'm 6 inches low, and well, I'll give it a couple clicks. Well, and then they see that it really didn't move at all, because it may not have. I mean, if they fired, another mistake, fire 1 round and then try to make adjustments off of it. No, fire 3, 4, 5 rounds, see where they're centered at, and then know the adjustment your sights need to make in order to get where you need to be. If you're on 1/4 minute of angle adjustments, and let's say you're 6 inches below bullseye, okay, well, 1/4 MOA, 6 inches, it's a 1/2 inch at 200, so 12. You need 12 clicks of your sight. That will get you where you need to be. But you'll see a lot of folks, well, I'll give it a couple clicks. I'll give it a couple clicks. I'll give it a couple clicks. And they're slowly working their way up there. Like, no, just, I'd say measure it, but you only really need to measure it. Say, okay, yeah, it's about 6 inches low. That's going to work out to about 12 clicks where I'm shooting at 200 yards with a 1/4 minute of angle adjustment. We'll just dial those in. If it needs a little bit of fine tuning after that, okay, give it 1 click back. You don't have to really, you know, if you're shooting some precision rifle, of course you're going to do what you need to do. But if you're shooting an AR that's pretty much rack grade, yeah, it's going to give you like probably on a good day, a 4-inch group at 200 yards. If you're shooting just ball ammo, bulk pack ammo on a non-free floated AR, yeah, it's what it's going to do. I mean, if you're centering your group up in here, that's fine. I mean, have realistic expectations of what the equipment can actually do, know how the sights work, know how to zero, and you'll save yourself a lot of money. There's really no reason why you can't have a rifle zeroed and confirmed in a box of ammo. You know, make an adjustment off of a few rounds, fire a few more, say, okay, yeah, that's about right. Fire the other half of the box to confirm it, to make sure that you are right where you want to be. And that's it. It doesn't take 100 rounds to zero a rifle. 20, even less potentially, if you really know what you're doing, is all it takes. Just be a little bit meticulous about it. Take the 10 seconds, do the math. Not a big deal. Take notes. When you make these adjustments, take notes of what you've done, because let's say you have a brain fart and you turn your elevation the wrong direction. You need to actually go down instead of up, or up instead of down. You got messed up. Well, if you took a little note of what you did, well, you can very easily turn it back and then go back the other way. If you zero a rifle at 200 yards, take note when you did it, what kind of ammunition you were using, what the conditions were like, and if you want to, just put it on an index card, take one of your index cards, and keep it in your range bag. That way you know, okay, this rifle is zeroed, it's ready to go, I've zeroed it at this distance with this ammo, and it's not 6 months later you say, oh, you know, I haven't shot that one in a while, and I went to the range that day and zeroed a bunch of rifles. Which one, oh, have I zeroed this or not? Then you're going back and reshooting a rifle that you've already zeroed and you already know it's good. So take notes, keep it in your range bag, make a notebook of it, write it on the side of the gun with a Sharpie if you want to. But keep track of what you've done, because you can waste a lot of ammo repeating yourself by accident. Quantify your performance and set goals. You see a lot of folks where they're really not trying to improve, and there's certainly a time and place for just going and plinking, but if you're trying to use your resources, your time and your money, your ammunition efficiently, set goals for yourself. Quantify the performance. Get a shot timer. If you're shooting handgun, get a shot timer and see if you're going faster, if you're going slower, and try to do better. You know, if you don't know, if you have no way of telling, it's just, well, I feel like I was shooting good today. Well, you might have been more accurate, but if you were taking way longer to do it, then you didn't really make yourself much better of a shooter. To an extent. I mean, shooting accurately is always good, but you ought to be trying to do it more proficiently. Ideally, if that's what you want to do. I don't load my magazines fully a lot of the time when I'm shooting handguns, because if you load, let's say, between 3 and 6 rounds in a mag, for one, and then, okay, so load 3, 4, 5, 6 in some magazines, mix them up. You don't know when you're going to run empty, so you get that surprise factor, puts you off your game a little bit. And then you also get more time to manipulate the gun. You're practicing your reloads, you're doing stuff with that handgun more often to where you're getting more familiar with it. Instead of just, I mean, you see folks and they come, they load up a full magazine and it's bang, 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 until they empty the 15, 16, 18 rounds, 20 rounds, whatever they have in the mag. It's like, guys, these follow-up shots are really easy ones. It's the first shot that's difficult. It's the reloads that are difficult. If you load the magazines partially full, you don't know when it's running empty. You're getting more time manipulating and less time just blasting through ammo, and more first shots where something has disrupted you and you have to come in on that first shot all over again. That's the hard one. The first shot is the hard one. And if you're not loading magazines fully, you're getting to practice that first shot more. You'll be a better shooter. You'll go through less ammo in the same amount of time for the same amount of training. It's just a better way to do it. Certainly, there are times to load magazines fully, obviously, but if you're just plinking around at the range trying to better your skills, don't load them fully. Load them 3 to 6 rounds each and practice your reloads. Also, what's great for that is if you have a handgun that comes with magazines that aren't the best, or you end up buying some that aren't really that good of mags, use those for that range practice where you don't need the full capacity. Like I've got an HK USP that I need to do a video on, but it came with 2 10-round mags. Well, of course I went out and bought full capacity mags for it, but I go and shoot the 10-rounders. Put the wear and tear on these springs. It doesn't have to be first-rate magazines as long as they're decently reliable. And if I'm only loading 3, 6 rounds, just run these through the ringer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Prioritize your supplies. If you've only got so many small pistol primers, use those to load 38 special. Don't use them to load 9mm. Unless you only shoot 9mm, then yeah, use them for whatever you want. But if you have more and less expensive calibers, well, maybe it's time to go and buy 9mm ammo at the store, even though it's kind of high, and reserve those primers for the stuff that is really expensive. Just try to prioritize the use of your supplies, and just because you have it to load 9mm, if you also shoot 38 special or 357 Magnum, you know, use it for that instead. Just think about what you're doing. Think about what replacement cost of components are, and prioritize their use to maximize the amount of savings. If it's cheaper to buy 9mm, then, well, it's cheaper to buy 9mm than 38 special. And if you only have so many components, put it towards that 38 special. Buy 9mm if you have to, unless you just have a huge disparity in volume that you shoot between those 2 calibers. You have to figure this out for yourself to an extent, but just think about it. You know, use your resources wisely. And last but not least, dry fire. I see so many people that, oh, well, you know, dry fire is a waste of time, and it's bad for the gun, and it's, you know, you can't really learn anything dry firing because there's no recoil. No, it's wrong. It's wrong. Your sight alignment, your trigger control, your breathing, your stance, your holster draw, your reholstering, manipulating magazines in and out of the pistol. You can do all that with no ammunition. And it does make a difference. It makes a huge difference. The best shooters that I've ever met dry fire a ton. They also shoot a lot, but they dry fire a ton. Back when I was just starting out in handgun shooting, I don't know, 15 years ago or something, I dry fired a lot, and I improved way above and beyond what you would think I would have been able to just by shooting at the range. You'll get these folks where they'll go and shoot, and they're not going to be back again for a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 6 months. And unfortunately, that's what happens. People are busy. Not everyone is totally dedicated to going out to the range every weekend or every other weekend. You know, and a lot of times I get busy. I mean, today I didn't go to the range. I went fishing because I wanted to go fishing. So you're not always at the range every weekend. You're not at the range necessarily every month, depending on what you have going on in your life. But so much of those skills can either be improved or maintained if you're doing consistent, disciplined dry fire practice. If you're coming out of the holster, you know, doing this safely, don't shoot your TV, but doing disciplined dry fire practice on a routine basis keeps your brain engaged with a handgun. It's not, oh, I haven't touched this thing in 3 months. What does this button do again? Oh, there's the trigger. Okay, how these sights? No. If you handle it consistently, a lot of that is going to be very natural when you show up to the range again. You're not going to regress as much if you're dry firing consistently. And if you're a novice, just becoming familiar with the gun being in your hand, the way that it handles, where the controls are, to where when the magazine runs empty, you're not sitting here, which button does that again? Oh, I sent the slide forward instead of releasing the magazine. It happens. I've seen it. Just become familiar with the gun. Dry fire it. Get used to the trigger squeeze on that particular handgun. Get used to the way that it presents. Get used to carrying out the motions of a proper draw, of a safe draw. You can't shoot yourself in the leg with a dry gun. So practice, especially when you come to holster draw stuff, practice those manipulations, that unholstering, the presentation, the reholstering. Practice all that dry a lot, and you'll be a better shooter. You'll keep more skills when you're shooting less, and it's just a great thing to do. Guys, I think that's all I have for you, really. I got this little note card here that I've been working off of. I think that covers it. If you found any of this helpful, if you think they're good ideas, let me know in the comments. If it helped you, if you saved a little bit of money from this, made you think about ways you can, like, subscribe, share it with your friends if they like to save money at the shooting range, and check back for another video probably in about a week or so. Thanks for watching, folks. Catch you later.